the Speakers Bureau. We maintain a Speakers Bureau of people who are interested in coming out to town and ward committees across the state. It includes things like our Democratic National Committee members, members of unions who have expressed an interest in speaking. Most of our subcommittee chairs are happy to come out and speak to groups. And they also include, well, that's basically the main kinds of things that the Speakers Bureau includes. I wanted to kind of conclude by talking about the fact that as chairs and activists in Democratic committees, you can really make a difference to people and people's lives in getting people involved. I can tell you, we talked about John a number of times, but I can say that John has made a difference in all of our lives through his work, first as an activist. I mean, he plays an important role as an insurance salesman, but you make a difference in people's lives in your volunteer work. You can see it happening in what John did to, his work with all of you in getting a Democrat elected governor. I look to the congressman of many of you, Barney Frank. I listened to him speak a number of years ago when, at a time when there happened to be an opening on the Democratic State Committee, and I said, yeah, he was very compelling, as people here know Barney can be, and I said, yeah, I think I really do want to do this. And he made a difference that in my life that has changed it, good, bad, or indifferent, it's changed it. I spoke with Pace Willison the other day. How many people here know who Pace Willison is? Well, a few people. He designed the community tools for the Deval Patrick campaign. And I first met him when he wasn't active at all in Democratic politics. But it's a kind of interesting story of how when everybody's doing their job, every little piece in the pie can make a difference. And what happened here was this particular town committee was a member of a regional organization like the Plymouth County Democratic League, where we set as our goal to have every member committee fill the full 35 members of each town committee on their ballot. And so the chair of Pace's committee started reaching out to people and saying, you don't have to do anything. Just lend your name to our organization. It looks better when we have a full 35 members. You won't have to do anything. So, well, that's easy. I'll sign these papers for you. And then, because he's a conscientious guy and he started getting invitations to the meeting, he starts coming to the meetings. The chair of his committee said, oh, you should sign up for this newsletter called the Democratic Dispatch. So he started getting the Democratic Dispatch. And he says, oh, gee, I want to go volunteer with John Kerry. So he calls me up and says, where can I find a way to go to New Hampshire to volunteer with John Kerry? Well, as it happened at the particular time in the cycle, the only place to volunteer that particular weekend was Lebanon, New Hampshire, which is about 2.5 hours from where we live. And so I said, well, this guy reached out to me. I wanted to have a good experience on his first day, so I got up early that morning, and my husband said, you do know this is crazy, don't you? And I said, well, yeah, but somebody knew, and I wanted to have a good experience the first time he does anything political. So as we drove up to New Hampshire, before we even got to Lebanon, he had agreed to co-edit the Democratic Dispatch with me using his software background. So anyway, one thing led to another, and he was really interested in using his professional skills to advance the Democratic Party. And the long and the short of it was through John, he ended up devoting a lot of his life to the Deval Patrick campaign. And now he's thrilled to actually be earning his living professionally, using his professional skills as a software engineer, helping elect Democrats across the country now. So, but if you look at that story, look at all the different pieces that made it work. A regional group that set a goal for its committees, a chair who encouraged people to sign up for an email list that I'm honored that many of you are members of, that keeps information out there, a campaign that said, hey, recognize talent. They knew Charles Steele Fisher, who some of you know, knew Pace through his work with me and says we want him on board. And one thing led to another. I like to think of myself as a good activist and valuable to campaigns, but in the middle of the Deval Patrick campaign, John and I were talking, and I'm saying, hey, you know, tell me what are the priorities? What should we be working on? He said, can you mow Pace's lawn for him? Shows you what John thinks of my Anyway, I just tell that story as a way that you as chairs can make a difference, whether it's encouraging a Democrat to run for elective office, town office, municipal office, or discouraging them, as we heard sometimes may be the best way to do things. But that's primarily what I wanted to talk about. I don't know, are our next speakers here? Or?
Yes.
Kate, could you mention something about the attempt to get some bus transportation to the
Sure.
convention?
One of the things that we're looking at that's an action of the Affirmative Action Outreach Committee is that we're looking to offer public transportation, not public transportation, but buses at least from the Boston area, to get people out to the convention. Many people without access to cars, or many people with disabilities have, you know, it's not practical for them. So that it's in the planning stages now. Chairman Johnston has been very encouraging about this effort. So I ask all of you as chairs to, as you're recruiting people to run for delegate, to let them know that transportation might be available, and to ask if people need transportation. So that was pretty much it. I thank you very much for your interest. And if anybody is interested in signing up for the Mass Dems Guide or the Democratic Dispatch, I'm going to start this circulating. Thank you very much.